all you gotta do is just sit back and relax.
Let's do this. Sit back and relax. Sit back and relax in your brain bonnet while strobing lights come at you at different frequencies.
Yep.
We are setting out to explore the future, and we're doing it by considering human capabilities. What will our brains and bodies be able to do in the year 2050? Could we be telepathic by then? Let's find out. This is Future You, with me, Elise Hu. When you set out to cover the future, it can be tough to decide where to start. But we settled on the brain because more than any other body part, our brains make us who we are. And the next frontier of human evolution is really focused on how to meld our biological bodies with machines. You know, stuff you've seen in the movies.
I know Kung Fu.
Okay, so we're still a long way from being able to download new skills straight into our heads, but a stepping stone technology called brain-machine interface is here. And it's a way to link our brain activity with external devices. Think cochlear implants for the deaf. That's a mainstream use case for a brain-machine interface. To take the science further, one U.S. research team figured out how to network human brains to communicate through thought alone, and all without invasive surgery. They invited us to check it out, so let's go. This is the University of Washington in Seattle, and this is the team at the Center for Neurotechnology that's doing some big work in building networks of brains. But before we get too deep, here's a quick primer on brain-machine or brain-computer interfaces. Scientists first discovered a way to read brain electricity in 1924. Research on brain-machine interfaces began in the 1970s when the sort of secretive government agency DARPA got involved. In the past 15 years, discovery and developments in this field have sped up considerably. Here's how they work. Brain-machine interfaces translate brain activity into data that computers can use to control software or hardware. These interfaces are made up of either surgically implanted chips or wearable removable caps. Advanced brain-machine interfaces are two-way channels, meaning they can read and record brain activity and stimulate it too. Which brings us back to Dr. Rao. Dr. Rao's team created the BrainNet, the first non-invasive brain-to-brain-to-brain network, which they're going to let me try by playing a game.
Preston here and Justin are the two researchers who will take you through the experiment.
Here's how it works. 3 subjects are in 3 different rooms playing one game a lot like Tetris. I am playing as Thought Sender 1. Kinsey is Thought Sender 2, and Michael is the receiver of our thoughts. On his end, Michael can't see the bottom row of this game, but Kinsey and I can. So Michael relies on us to tell him whether yes, he should rotate the block, or no, don't rotate it in order to clear the bottom row. So just to review, Kinsey and I each signal whether to rotate by looking at the light near yes or the light near no. Michael receives our signals one at a time through an electromagnetic pulse from this gray coil. It targets his visual cortex. So if Kinsey and I say yes, rotate the block, then Michael will perceive a glow in his visual field. Only Michael can see it. If we say no, don't rotate, he perceives nothing. Now bear in mind, this experiment happens in near silence in 3 separate dark rooms. The magic really is in the mind.
Elise tries.
Okay, hit the lights. Let's do this. Okay, this is a clear, do not rotate, do not rotate. We'll clear this line if we don't rotate. Don't move it. Yay! Okay, after a false start, I've become good at this. See? We did it. Teamwork makes the telepathic dream work. Next, we trekked across campus to talk more with Dr. Rao. Along the way, we refueled and met a man with a box full of brains.
Yeah, this is actually a real human brain.
Oh my God. But I digress. Just a regular day in the life of neuroscientists. So we sat down with Dr. Rao to play
In the year 2015.
Brain to Brain Edition. To play this game, we asked Raj to give us 4 super scenarios for the year 2050. First up, what's a possible superhuman capability?
Transfer of knowledge and skills definitely is a possibility. If you watch the movie The Matrix, right? Learning Kung Fu, for example, just by downloading it. So how'd you do in calculus? Were you great in calculus? Well,
No,
okay.
absolutely not.
So that's an example where just downloading it might not be sufficient because you might have questions, once you've gotten that first download. So you might want to have interactive tutoring.
Okay.
Right? So, brain tutoring, right? It's
Brain
basically
tutoring.
It's a brain tutoring approach.
What about a super villain scenario?
There's several different ways in which it can be abused. So, for example, you could have brain tapping, right? Which
Okay.
is, somebody reading your thoughts, so to say, right? And then, for example, you could have coercion going on. So somebody could be coercing you to do certain things that maybe you as a person may not have wanted to do. And then finally, I think if you're worried about computer viruses, imagine somebody doing that with a mind virus, right? So
malware for the brain or something.
Exactly,
Yeah, mind
exactly.
malware. What's a super thorny issue this tech could create?
for example, the haves and have-nots.
Right.
I mean, it's going to exacerbate that division between the haves.
Who gets the super brain? Who gets the
Exactly.
regular brain?
Exactly, yeah. And not only that, but are there going to be government subsidies? Should there be a minimal kind of brain-computer interface that's given, right, to children?
Okay, what's most likely to happen?
Instead of using your hands to type or to use your speech, can you actually just transfer, particular words? That could be communicated directly to someone, right? So, and that could sort of replace having to use a device that you always hold in your hand.
We aren't the only ones thinking about this. Elon Musk started a company called Neuralink that's trying to make an implantable brain-machine interface. Billionaire Brian Johnson founded Kernel that is trying to make the neural code programmable. And Facebook has a project dedicated to thought-to-text, a way for us to type 100 words per minute with our minds alone. The science raises a lot of questions, like the more minds meld with machines, where do our biological bodies end and machines begin? And for me, the ultimate question is, who will we be? To follow along the future with us, Future You episodes will drop each month, and I invite you to send in your ideas, comments, questions to me at Elise Hu, the old-fashioned way, not telepathically. Okay, for now, bye.